Are you ready?
Yeah.
I said, are you ready? What is going on, friendos? How are you doing? Yeah, we're back this Thursday again at 2 o'clock with our podcast with Greg and Andy here. And, man, we hope you're doing well. I'm doing well. I love June. June is probably my favorite month out of all the other months in the year. I don't know about you, Greg. June's pretty sweet.
I don't mind June as long as we don't have like the heat wave that we had the last couple weeks.
I loved it.
Yeah.
It hasn't been humid, though. I mean, have you been dripping in sweat?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of like as soon as I roll out of bed.
Don't you have the air conditioning on?
Yeah.
I love June. June is, I mean, for Northridge, we got the celebration weekend, the annual meeting last week, which
it's a great
just,
time. It's a great month.
It's my birthday month.
Oh, yeah.
It was always the month that you look forward to get out of school. It's not, I mean, I get it. The last week and a half has been uncharacteristically warm.
Yeah.
But it's normally the weather is pretty mild. The humidity hasn't really jumped in quite yet. The bugs haven't really hatched, and they're not swarming you.
That I'm okay with.
You're okay with the bugs.
There's been like really low mosquito activity.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant you're okay with bugs.
No, I'm okay with them not hatching. And
I will say my lawn could use a little water.
Yeah, could use a lot.
It's pretty decrepit and dry, and it's pretty
crunchy.
Awful. Crunchy is a good word. Yeah, you can hear the dogs walk. Crunch, crunch, crunch.
Yeah.
June is a great month, and so I don't know about you, Greg, but I love June. I got a new phone.
Did you really?
I got the new iPhone.
Oh, nice.
The new iPhone 12 Max
Comes
Pro.
in camo?
Well, I got this case. I actually got it on.
Hope you don't lose it.
I got it on Monday. I got it on Monday, but I waited till I got the screen protector in the case to set it up. So I just set it up last night.
What's new with the iPhone?
The camera is amazing.
Yeah. I mean,
but in terms of
they have been
it's
for a
faster.
few years.
But this camera with the 3 lenses, it's even amazingest. I mean, I had the 10. You have don't you have the 12?
I have the 11.
Oh, you have the 11.
Because,
okay.
Yeah.
When
I got it was actually
all you
cheaper than
non-Apple
the 10.
people are probably rolling your eyes at us. But
wow.
It's faster.
They're lucky they can even get out of bed.
This
and
is
tie their shoes.
This is the 5G one. So, all those COVID conspiracies with 5G. Yeah. You know. I don't know. Just a great month. It's exciting.
We had something growing up in Southern California, June.
Baseball?
Well, yeah, baseball is good. But we had something called June gloom.
June gloom?
Yeah, because you'd get a lot of overcast type days in June.
Wow.
Like foggy, kind of like gray, overcast. But, it would quickly turn to just hot. Yeah.
Hot and muggy?
Hot. Not really muggy.
It's not muggy out.
So the weather the last couple weeks here in Minnesota feels very similar to growing up.
So warm but a little
hot
arid.
And yeah.
Okay.
We didn't get too much humidity. Every once in a while we'd get some, but not too much.
So overall, you doing all right? Doing well?
Doing well, yeah. We're busy,
As a family?
As a family.
As
a people. We are busy, but good.
The kids are out of school?
Kids are out of school. We got youth activities going on. We got soccer. Riley doing soccer on Monday and Wednesdays. And Evan and Jordan are actually in a play together. And Asher's doing, he has youth activities now, and then he's still doing guitar. And Evan started piano. I don't know if I told you that.
Interesting.
He's doing piano this summer.
And you want to start playing bass.
Why not?
You should take my bass guitar home with you.
I asked you 2 weeks ago.
It's in my office.
Yeah, okay.
You just take it.
All right.
So you guys are busy as a family.
We're busy.
Awesome. But doing well.
Yeah.
That's good.
Good.
June 17th. I can't believe it's June 17th. We're almost halfway through June.
It's crazy.
already.
It's past halfway.
Is
right?
it? Yeah, 30 days has September, April, June. Yep, we're 2 days past.
This morning, Jordan and I actually had this conversation. Wait, is there 31 days in July? I was like, yeah. Wait, 30. I think so. And then she's like, wait, is there? But we didn't know that song.
Oh. I don't know.
So,
if it's a song. It's
But
just
we both had our phone in our hand. I was like, just look at the calendar.
30 days in June, so we're 2 days past. June 17th, though, had some interesting things happen.
Has it?
Any guesses as to what has happened this day in history?
4 years ago
June
this day.
17th.
4 years ago
4
this
years
day, my
ago.
sister Lori and her family moved to Texas from California.
I don't know if they're going to publish that on history.com.
It was on my Facebook memories. So it's something.
All right.
No, what happened on
June 17th, back in 1885.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
You were around there?
No.
No. So you hadn't
quite.
immigrated into the U.S.?
No, not
Okay.
yet.
The Statue of Liberty arrived in the United States as a gift from
France.
the French. And it arrived in 350 different pieces.
Really? I didn't know
200 different crates.
Huh.
Yeah.
Kind of like buying something from IKEA. Like you just had to, they come with a little tool.
I don't
They
know.
had to put it together, that whole thing with the little Allen wrench tool.
I was watching
There's a part missing. Yeah, go back to France.
I was watching ESPN the other day, and they had soccer, and the Swedish soccer team was playing the Spaniards, and they were talking. The announcer's like, every name on here looks like a name from IKEA. So yeah, the Statue of Liberty. I don't know how people feel about the Statue of Liberty these days with all the, they've been taking down a lot of the statues.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not a former slave. I don't know. I don't want to get into it.
It's not a real person. It's just it's a fake lady, right?
Right. So it'd be interesting.
And I wonder, so it's copper. When they took it out of the crate, was it like copper color? How long did it keep its color? Because it turned green, right, from the ocean air and stuff.
Yeah.
The oxidization.
Yes, it's a big word.
It is it's a tongue twister. That kind of. But it'd be interesting to see it in its original color.
Yeah. Is it oxidization or is it oxidation?
Oxidization.
Oxidization.
Right.
Okay.
It's oxidized.
Anywho, so that was 1885 on June 17th. There's another really interesting thing that happened on June 17th, and I'm going to ask you this one. I know you were alive because I was alive, and if I was alive, you were alive.
Yep. But was I paying attention? That's the bigger question.
Well, that's what I want. I think the whole country was, because back on June 17th on this day, I don't remember what year it was. It probably was 90. I'm going to guess it's like 95, 94. OJ led the cops in a car chase in his white Bronco.
White Ford Bronco.
Where were you when that
And
happened?
I think it was 95. I think you're right. Or was it 94? 94 or 95.
Well,
I
tell
was
me
going
where
to
you
work.
were, and I'll check that.
I was going to work at the Riverside Convention Center in Riverside, California, going to set up a giant convention hall for some big convention, setting tables and chairs. That was my job.
June 17, 1994.
94, yeah.
So, yeah.
Yep.
I would have been 15 years old. I don't know about you.
19.
19?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I do, because at the time, it's interesting. At the time, there was still a lot of like, this is kind of a joke. You know, it was a kind of a weird thing. And I don't know if you remember the OJ commercials. Like, I think it was a Hertz car rental when he was in the airport. Running.
Very
So he's
vaguely.
running like through the airport, and he's like hurdling the rows of chairs and so I remember a guy I worked with, we were laughing, saying like, this is OJ's on the run. And it was like, it's just like the commercial. He's like running through the airport, and then you go home, and I think I did go home, turn on TV and watch the chase, and it was crazy. I mean, people were out on the side of the freeway and on the overpasses and waving and had signs, and it was just such a weird thing that the police are in pursuit of a who they thought was a murderer, and everyone is out like just waving at OJ.
Yeah, but he was one of the best running backs. You know.
Well, and this is way past his
It was
football
past his-
career. He was a known actor. I mean, he was in the
Naked
Naked
Gun.
Gun series.
Those
and it's
are
like,
hilarious.
yeah, they're some of the greatest movies.
Yeah, I remember being in the basement of one of my best friend Luke, Davey. I think there were a few other people, Rob, maybe Chuck, but we sat there downstairs in the basement and watched the whole thing on the news. Yeah, that's where I was.
When they're like, get off the freeway and they're going through his neighborhood in Brentwood and pulling up to the house.
Did you ever see any of the drama series not documentaries, but like the made for TV kind of based on?
Yeah, the one that, like
They had one on
couple years ago.
TNT. Yep, the O.J. Simpson trials or something like that. The dude from Friends, Ross, was in one of them.
I hate
Ross. I think he was.
Ross is so annoying.
I think he
By
was
far the
the
worst part of that
Kardashian
show.
guy. One of the
Yeah,
Kardashian
I did see it.
guys.
He was Robert Kardashian.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then wasn't Sterling K. Brown in it?
I think so. He was one of the attorneys.
Christopher Darden, the prosecutor, one of the prosecutors. Yeah.
Staying Alive. What's his face?
Oh, John Travolta.
John Travolta.
Yeah.
I think he was in. I think there were two different ones.
Yeah, there were two different ones.
Yeah.
And I'm mixing them up because
Me too.
there was one a couple years ago
Why
that
have
was
two of them?
really good.
Yeah.
That was much better.
Oh, so one of them was
the one with
better.
John Travolta, I think, was pretty bad, or was it?
Probably.
Very good guess.
But he was in some good movies.
I actually met Marcia Clark, the prosecutor, the lead.
Not the
prospect.
actor. Not the
No, the
person-
actual
The
person.
actual.
At the same place, now full circle here, at my work, because she came
What
about.
did you do?
I was at the convention,
You needed
Riverside
representation?
Convention Center. No.
Okay.
I worked for a couple of years last year high school, and then for a couple of years I worked at this convention center, and there were like anything from wedding receptions to, which I had some great stories of some crazy wedding receptions, to just big karate tournament, big high school basketball tournaments and stuff. But there were big
It'd be the Simi Valley
conventions.
karate tournament.
Yeah. There was a big thing every year called the Women in Business Expo, and it was like one of the biggest events of the year. And it was like a women's, I don't know, they were there all day. And so they had this big lunch, they had speakers. It was like a conference kind of a thing. And she was like the keynote speaker. And so at one point, me and I think it was my friend Brian I worked with, we were out back where if you came out of the room, like she would have come off stage, and then there's like kind of a door to go out, and there's like a loading dock, and it's just outside. And she was just out there having a smoke, and and we just kind of happened to walk up there around the corner, and she was with someone else that had come with her, and I don't know, we just chatted with her, and she was super nice, like really nice lady.
What was your job title at the convention?
I forgot what. I mean, we were just
I can't imagine what's going through her mind. Like, who is this guy?
Well,
Why
we
is
were
he
just the
talking to
guys.
me?
Like we set up all the tables, all the chairs. Like but we were also there during all the events in case something went wrong. Like, it's like when we have stuff
Building
here,
hosts.
we're a host. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but we did all the grunt labor too. So
Cool.
but it was cool. She was cool. She was just chatting, just really down to earth, and so she had different hair like then.
She didn't have the perm.
She didn't have no.
Okay.
She was like all like different, and she kind of made light of it too, of like changing her look and stuff. So anyway, yeah.
This was post or pre OJ?
Post. No, it was after.
This is after OJ?
Yeah, it was after it was all done. Probably a year or two after. So
All right.
yeah.
Favorite John Travolta movie?
Pulp Fiction.
Is it a John Travolta movie?
No, but he's in it.
Okay.
So.
You ever see?
Don't say Face Off, because that's the worst movie of all time. And people are
It's-
like, "Oh,
okay.
it's such a good movie."
Not the
No.
worst movie of all time.
Wow.
There's some. In fact, if you watch this, tell me what you think the worst movie of all time is in the chat, please. I'd love to know what your opinion is. There's worse movies than Face Off. Wasn't the best for sure, but yeah.
His like face healed in 30 minutes, like major surgery, plastic surgery is like.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But Nick Cage and John Travolta, what a combination.
Yeah.
Did you ever see Phenomena?
No.
Remember that?
Yeah. No. I remember the movie. But
And
I didn't
the
see
Eric
it.
Clapton song,
Mhm.
If You Could Change Your World.
Mhm.
Yeah. Or what about Michael? Remember he was the angel?
Yeah.
Yep.
There was that whole. That's probably like what, mid '90s era of John Travolta movies that I just skipped. It's like he had the resurgence after Pulp Fiction, because he was kind of gone. Like you didn't see much of him.
If you had to be stranded on an island and you were given the choice of Nick Cage movies or John Travolta movies, and you could only take one or the other collection, what would you pick?
Wow.
I would probably pick John Travolta just because of Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Except I did kind of like the one Nick Cage movie I kind of liked was the one where I can't remember the name. He was
Con
an
Air?
OC. No, no. With that long hair, flowing
And the
hair.
really bad accent.
Yeah, that's like all his movies. He had OCD. Was he like a detective or something?
Oh, 8mm?
Was it 8mm?
There's that one. There's the one where he's the ambulance driver. That one was actually pretty good.
Oh, what am I?
Then there's The Rock with Sean Connery. That one was pretty darn good.
You got Sean Connery in there. I mean,
But it's still Nick Cage.
yeah. Balance each other out. I can't remember the movie that I'm thinking of. Groundhog's Day. Christine Peters says Groundhog's Day is the worst movie
Oh,
ever. What?
come on.
Which
That's
time?
a great
Which
movie.
time was it the worst movie ever?
Bill Murray is a
Oh,
classic. You just made my heart kind of hurt.
I think maybe we should block Christine.
I haven't seen her for so long. We can't block her.
I know. I'm just joking.
Groundhog
Actually, I know a
Day?
lot of people that don't like that movie. I'm pretty
What?
sure my wife doesn't like that movie.
Why?
I don't know.
What's not to like?
I don't know.
Bill, maybe you don't like Bill Murray. I don't know. Could be.
My wife has weird taste in movies sometimes. Like, I was watching Heartbreak Ridge, Clint Eastwood movie. Have you ever seen that? It's a classic. Like, he's a Marine.
It's an older movie.
like
right?
drill sergeant or something. Yeah, from the
I haven't
80s.
seen it.
And he has to take this like ragtag group of misfits and turn them into real Marines, right? But it's like a serious movie. It's not a comedy, although there's some funny parts. But and I was watching it one time, and Jordan's like, "What is this? This is like Major Pain." Like she compared Clint Eastwood Heartbreak Ridge to Keenan Ivory Wayans or whatever, Damon or whichever
I
Wayans
think
brother
it's
was in
Damon.
Major Pain comedy. I just thought that was funny.
No, Keenan. Who was the one who was always bald? That's Keenan.
Is it Keenan?
Yeah.
He was the
Yeah.
the main one first, and then Damon just overtook him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever see the one that Damon was in? Or no, Keenan? Lethal Weapon, the TV series?
Oh, the Sun. It's one of their. It's isn't it like?
No, it was the original. I think it was Keenan. Anyway, they stopped doing it because he's like, I'm too old for this.
Oh. So I just read this the other day. In Lethal Weapon, that's Danny Glover's big line, like
I'm too old. Yeah.
too old for this.
Yep.
Explicitive. Do you know he was 41? His character was supposed to be 41
When they made
when he was saying
Lethal
that,
Weapon.
and he's like, "I'm too old for this." Yeah.
We're older than
I
that.
know. He's 41.
But he looked
was-
older than that
he
in the
did.
show. I wonder how old he was when they made Lethal Weapon.
That's a good question, but this is a thing. Like, have you ever went back and looked at people, even like 30 years ago in TV, like people looked a lot older.
Right.
It's crazy.
40s and 50s when we were growing up,
Yes.
they looked ancient.
Yes.
Do we look ancient?
I don't know.
I mean,
To
we'll
our
have to
kid,
ask
like,
some of the youth or some of the kids and ask if we
maybe.
look ancient, but I don't know.
I did this one time. You could do it. I mean, at home, you Google like, I forget how I searched it, but we found that we were at my sister's house over Christmas a couple years ago, and I was talking about this, and we found this page that had like, TV shows from the 70s and 80s and the characters and how old they were supposed to be, and it was like, oh my goodness, they look like they're 80 years old and they're supposed to be in their 30s.
Yeah.
Like Seinfeld, they're all supposed to be 30 years old or 32.
Well, they all look
Something
like
like
in
that.
their 40s.
Yeah. Where's another one?
I mean, poor Jason
Grease.
Alexander. Did he come out of the womb bald?
Yeah, I think so. the movie Grease.
Yeah.
Like they're supposed to be in high school.
18,
John
it's
Travolta.
like 16,
they're all like in
17.
their 30s
Yeah.
playing like 16-year-olds. Yeah. It was kind of funny. But anywho.
So John Travolta or Nick Cage movie collection? You said John Travolta.
I think just because of Pulp Fiction or I don't know. You know what? You know what's not horrible is National Treasure. Asher likes those movies, and I'm like, yeah, it's not bad.
They're not bad.
It's kind of fun.
Yeah. They had the one comedic relief guy. He was pretty funny. They're clever.
Yeah.
But it was, I mean, Nick Cage is Nick Cage, and kind of all of us the same guy.
Yeah.
But he keeps acting.
Keeps going.
I wonder if they're going to ever come out with the
It's from
that one movie about the parody of Nick Cage, played by Nick Cage. I don't remember what it was. Anyway.
Do you think he would have become a successful actor without the like Hollywood pedigree? Because his uncle, I think, is Francis Ford Coppola.
Oh, really?
Yeah. His real name is Nick Coppola.
Oh.
In fact, there's a movie, I don't remember, I can't think of which movie it was, that he was in, and in the credits it says Nick Coppola. Oh, I have to remember what it is.
I don't know if he would have lasted this long if it were more than just pedigree, or if it was only pedigree. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
Although,
I mean,
don't know.
You start getting like a couple of big roles or big breaks, and then you're just like a name.
Yeah.
And so you could probably.
Well, I think The Rock early on in Face Off. I mean, as much as you didn't like Face Off, back in the late '90s,
Well, it was a huge.
Those were. It was a big deal. Those
yeah,
were
probably made.
Those
a lot
were
of money.
Hollywood movie blockbusters.
Yeah.
You know, I remember seeing Face Off and The Rock in the theater, right when it came out. I believe.
I didn't see either
yeah.
one in the theater. I saw them both on VHS. Rented from either Blockbuster or Hollywood Video. One of those.
Mr. Movies. Did you ever have a Mr. Movies?
I don't think we had Mr. Movies.
No.
Mm-mm.
It's the green little sign with the smile.
We didn't.
Okay. Anyway, so yeah, OJ. That's
Yeah.
Any other news? There's been some interesting news related to animals lately. You had one that you mentioned the other day that I thought was really funny. I don't know why it's funny, but
The whale.
Yeah. What was
It's
that?
funny.
One?
The guy got swallowed, or not swallowed, I don't know. A lobster diver is diving, trying to pick lobsters off the ocean floor.
Where is this in?
Off the coast of Maine, I think.
In Maine.
It was, yeah. Diving for lobsters, and said he felt like a shove from behind, and then everything was dark. And for a moment, he thought he just got eaten by a great white. But it turns out he was in the mouth of a humpback whale. And then he said he felt like the pressure of it was like trying to figure out what was going on in its mouth.
Like filter him out.
Yeah, yeah. And then he saw light, and he was on the surface, and the whale's like shaking its head trying to get him out.
Oh, that's so crazy.
And then later, so I just read, apparently this guy has had kind of a wild life
This
too.
the guy who got mouthed by the whale?
Yeah, mouthed. He also survived, is like a lone survivor of a plane crash in the Amazon a few years ago, where he was with some other people in a small plane. The plane went down. Everybody else died.
Sounds
like the only
fishy.
survivor. Sounds fishy.
Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
funny though. You told me that story last week, and I just thought it was hilarious. Obviously, makes you think of Jonah
Yep.
and the whale. Some other, last year we had this big old thing. I don't know if you remember. You probably remember this. We went up onto the roof to do like a family business video, and we ended the family business with you running away because of murder hornets.
Yeah.
What happened to murder hornets?
They're gone. Apparently, it was not a thing.
Not a thing. You know
Not a
what's
big
the
thing.
thing this year? Apparently,
No, what?
is they're called Godzilla wasps.
Yeah, Godzilla wasp.
Can you guess what country that they've discovered these
Country, so not Florida.
That's not a country.
Sounds like something from Australia, because as Asher says, everything in Australia is trying to kill you.
It's actually Japan.
It's
where
in Japan.
Godzilla's
Yeah.
from.
Oh, sure, Godzilla.
Godzilla was born in
Yeah.
Japan. apparently they're big, and they lay their eggs in caterpillar larvae,
Yeah.
and which they chase out of the water.
That's just crazy.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. It's
So I
just
don't know
mean.
if they're,
That's just mean.
yeah,
They're mean.
bunch of bullies.
They bullies wasps.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to make it to the continental United States.
I'm sure they will. I'm sure there'll be mass hysteria. There'll be a sighting somewhere in Washington. And,
Speaking of Washington, there is a cicada, not John Cicada, but a cicada.
you know what's funny is I have a friend named John Sadaka. It's the D and the K are just. I'm serious. He's a good dude.
Like you have to say he's a good dude.
He is. Well, he's not a bad guy. He's a good guy.
Do you remember any John Cicada songs?
No. Well, if you started singing them, I'm sure I'd remember.
I don't remember any of them.
Cicada, right? It wasn't cicada.
Cicada.
I think it was John Cicada.
John Cicada, yeah. Anyway, so it's the cicada invasion in Washington, D.C. right now,
Oh, man.
where they're just all over the place.
Are any of them wearing like a buffalo helmet? Storming the Capitol.
All I know is that one of them did hit our president, Joe Biden.
Really?
Yep. So they're dive bombing.
Okay.
And I guess what Andy Rubel was telling me, that people complaining because they also pee on you. I guess. I didn't know bugs really urinated.
I didn't either. And now I'm terrified that if I walk under a tree, I'm going to get urinated upon by a cicada.
Yeah, cicada. And then I also saw something on Facebook. I don't know if it was real or fake, but they had them like laid out on a cookie sheet, and where it looked like they were going to throw them in the oven and then eat them. Would you ever do that?
I don't know. Probably not.
Have you ever eaten anything weird like that before?
Yeah.
Grasshopper?
I don't remember if I've had grasshopper. I don't remember. It was cricket, I think. A few years ago, actually, my mother-in-law brought like candy with like a little cricket or like bug in it or something. And all the kids actually.
Like chocolate-covered crickets?
Yeah. She bribed the kids to, she said she'd give them $10 to eat them. And Evan, like right away, ate one.
Sure.
Asher did too. Yeah.
Be like, is it $10 per bug? I could hear Evan say that.
Yeah. Actually, he stopped and he would negotiate. Yeah.
So yeah, cicadas. The last one is, I guess there's been a lot of bear sightings in the area. I'm on this group on Facebook for Otsego. It's like an
Yep. The
Is it
bulletin board.
raining?
Yeah, I think so. That's why I was like kind of froze and I was listening.
I have the chop on my Jeep down.
Of course you do.
The forecast didn't say rain at all.
Yeah, there's drops on the skylights.
Dang it.
Breaking news here with Adam.
The
Adam? Andy. Gregg. I
Adam.
don't know why Adam came out. It's raining.
forecast said cloudy all day, but no rain.
Maybe it's just the cicadas peeing on the roof.
Could
Because
be.
it's just little drips here and there. It's not.
Just those drips.
Yeah,
it's called rain.
But I mean, it's not pouring rain. It's just like little dot,
Yeah.
dot, dot.
Dot,
You'll be
dot,
fine.
dot. So yeah, there's a bunch of bear. There's a group on Facebook, the Otsego, like community group. I don't know
Yeah.
if you're part of anything like
Yeah.
that in Rogers.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of, we should get. Can our church be a part of that Rogers neighborhood?
Yeah, we are.
Rogers, oh, we are. Okay.
Yeah.
Are you allowed to like
You know what's weird about
promote things on there? Or no?
I have, yeah.
Okay.
I have. But you know what's weird about the neighborhood thing is like you sign up in your neighborhood, right? Like the church here is in the Triangle Park neighborhood, they call this. But then you'll also get notifications from like 15 miles away. Like I get stuff from Anoka or like Maple Grove, it's closer, I get that, but it's kind of weird. So it's not really just always just your neighborhood.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe there's a preferences thing that I'm missing. But
Well, I'm assuming if you sign up for like Otsego, an Otsego group, community group, you're just getting stuff from Otsego.
what part of Otsego? New Otsego or old Otsego?
Doesn't
You
matter.
live in
It's
old Otsego.
I know I do.
But let's say.
But if you sign up for like a City of Rogers
Mhm,
Facebook
yeah.
group, you would assume that it's just related to
Yeah,
Roger.
but you sign up, you put your neighborhood that you're in. Maybe you do check multiple boxes. It's been a while. I'll have to look at it.
Anyway,
Yeah.
moving on. Any other kind of weird news stuff you want to bring up?
I don't remember. Bears, though. I mean, so Memorial Day, we went to Elm Creek Park Reserve, the Eastman Nature Center. Have you ever been there?
No.
It's pretty cool. I mean, the little center there, but there's some cool, just short walking trails through the woods. And they had signs up. There have been bears in the area. Just, they don't want any part of you. Just leave them alone.
Yeah, they're probably black bears.
It's a black bear mama with cubs. So that's the only thing that's a little scary, because if
cubs.
Yeah, if you got in between mama bear and cubs, that's usually pretty bad news. But for the most part, I think they're
very
more
black bears
afraid
are
of us
pretty
than-
skittish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Would the mom throw the baby at you as she was running away? That skittish, or would she come take a swipe at you?
She would probably charge you while the kids got away.
What about that girl a couple weeks ago that went and pushed the bear off her brick wall?
Yeah.
That was crazy. That's crazy.
She was like a 14 or 15-year-old girl.
That's insane.
Yeah.
But I have you ever seen a bear in the wild?
Yeah.
Up like your folks' place up north, or?
Up there hunting one time, and then also at camp in
Really?
Wisconsin, at Grantsburg, Wisconsin, the Wood Lake Bible Camp.
Mm-hmm.
We'd come out. In fact, there was oftentimes we'd be in chapel at night, and then the camp staff would either radio to us or sneak in, and they'd probably just walk in because they live up there. They know how to deal with bears, but they would come in and tell the people in charge of, because we would put on our own camp.
Yeah.
So either when I was in charge or when I was a student, our youth leaders, they would say, hey, we got to hang out in here a little bit longer, because the last thing they want is a bunch of teenagers rushing out of chapel right to the path of these bears.
Yeah.
But we came out one time because they said they're up there, but you can come out, just kind of go straight down to the lakeside where the little recreational areas. But they were hanging out up in the trees.
Oh wow. Cool.
There was one time where one of the babies was in a tree and the mama was in another tree, and there was like right in between the path that you had to walk, and so
it's not good.
it was pretty interesting. But they're
I
cool.
saw one in Vancouver, off the side of the road when we were driving.
It was probably a brown bear. Was it brown bear?
It was big.
Yeah.
And we were driving from Vancouver. We were driving up to Whistler for the day, and then off the side of the highway, just walking. And it's like there's something, because it's like that bear just knows that he could do whatever he wants. Like he's on the side of the freeway, not a care in the world, just walking. Like, I'm a giant bear. Go ahead, get out of your car. Try to shoo me away. Yeah. If you hit him, he would probably destroy your car. Those things are
Massive.
they're big.
Yeah.
And then that would just make him mad.
This is maybe controversial. Have you ever eaten bear?
No.
Okay.
Is that controversial?
I don't know. I mean, we have a lot of hunters here at Northridge, so it's probably not that bad. But I'd like to try it. Just got to make sure you cook it well enough so you don't get trichinosis.
That's like a
It's like a worm.
disease.
Yeah, disease. Undercooked.
Yeah, I don't want that.
No. Yeah, I don't think you do.
No.
All right, let's move on. We're going to move on to a little bit of Northridge news and updates. What's going on here? Greg, you got a list here. What's going on?
What is going on? Well, of course, next week is VBS. Pretty big deal. VBS, awesome. Always a lot of fun. Great week.
It is. It's busy.
Great
It's
times.
chaotic,
Busy,
but it's amazing.
chaotic mornings all week from 9 to noon. This place is just buzzing with kids, and just stuff's going crazy in here.
And we're good on, we still need a couple crew leaders maybe?
I think so, yeah.
Yep.
A few volunteers, still a few crew leaders, which...
I also still need somebody to help me build this cross X. It's supposed to be an X that turns into a cross. I put a video up on our Northridge Life group page with a YouTube video instructions on how to make it. But I would love if anybody's out there that would be willing. I'll pay for all the materials, but if somebody could help make that, that'd be great. But other than that, I mean, there's already started doing some decorating.
Yeah.
You'll see this weekend.
Looking pretty cool.
And starting next Monday at 9 o'clock, we're going to have Rocky Railway.
Yeah.
Railroad.
Rocky Railway.
Rocky Railway. That seems kind of like a
That's a hard thing to say.
little tongue twister that I'll have to.
Rocky Railway.
I'm sure I'll say
you have
that
to say it slowly.
plenty of times
Yeah.
next week.
Mhm.
What are
You'll
you
mess
doing
it up.
next week?
I am helping. Jordan runs the Bible story room, and so I help in there.
I'll be in the youth room.
In the youth room. Yep.
So you'll run the production stuff for her.
Yeah.
Cool.
See if I could do any damage to the equipment in the sound booth. So
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine.
yeah, I've done it the last couple of years. It's fun.
Yep.
So
And then we got down here. I'll be down here for the closing sessions, doing the kind of the MC type stuff with Jackie. This is Jackie's first
Yeah.
VBS here with us here at Northridge.
Crazy.
So let's scare her.
yeah, yesterday. So
Let's overwhelm her.
and that was crazy too. Yesterday, Jackie saying that they haven't been here for the block party. We
Yeah.
talked about the block party coming in the fall, and
I mean, it just feels
Yeah.
like she's been here forever.
I know. Well, we skipped 1 year.
I know.
Of all these events, and I think they came. I don't know. I can't remember exactly
They
when she
came-
came on
I
the
think
step.
she
It was
started
probably
in, like-
fall-ish of like 2019. No. Yeah, I guess so. 2019.
Because she was here for Christmas the year we did that. Was Christmas in a box during the quarantine?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was.
Yeah.
Okay. What was the year before that? I don't remember. Because maybe she didn't even get here till that January.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Like 2 months right before
it was.
the pandemic.
Oh, it was. I think it was.
Yeah.
A few. Yeah.
So I think she started in January, and then
Yeah.
in March is when everything
Mm-hmm.
changed.
But they've been around. So I think they were
A little
coming to
bit.
church before that, like
Yeah.
attending regularly, and yeah. Anyways, but back to VBS. So it's
This
Jackie's
is her
first year at
first VBS.
So,
Next September will be her first block party.
yeah,
Yeah, a lot of firsts for her
Yeah.
for this year.
those are big events. But and VBS, there's so much involved. Fortunately for her, she's got Terry, who's done this like every year for the last 20 or
20.
whatever, plus 20 at Northridge.
Yep.
But
And she's doing the closing session
yeah.
with me, which eventually, we have her take over. I think I kind of gave the thumbs up on doing it simply because it was Jackie's first year. Whereas when Christina Van Voren was here, I'd done it
yeah,
since pretty much day one. Terry wanted me to do this. So I've been doing this since 2011, the MC stuff. And then when we got an official kids minister, that was Christina,
yeah.
sort of slowly transitioned to when basically she did everything. So I'm kind of going to do the same thing with Jackie. Help her this year, and then maybe kind of turn the tide. Are you tired? Are you yawning? Am I boring you?
No,
Okay.
yeah, well, kind of. But that's not the reason why I yawned.
What else? What other news we got
My
going
dog
on?
woke me up at 5:30 this morning.
Scully.
Punk.
I thought you had him in a cage.
Yeah, I could hear him. He just starts whining and like hitting the walls of the crate.
Oh.
So, and there was no real reason. Like it's not like he had to go.
It's just
out and go
lonesome. He's
get
like,
the
why
house.
you put me in this crate
No,
at
he
night?
usually sleeps in. He usually sleeps
Why-
until he hears one of the kids.
Why
Get
you
up.
lock me up?
I think he thought one of the kids was up.
Let
to
me be
honest.
free.
So, yeah.
I just want to be with people.
Actually, he loves his crate.
Yeah. Okay.
He goes in there willingly. Like that's his spot. It's like his little bedroom. He likes to go in there and he crashes. If he needs space, he just goes in his little crate.
All right.
Yeah, he loves it.
Probably see that he needs space a lot. I mean, not specifically your kids, but just
Yeah.
kids in general tend to smother dogs.
He's funny because he's so affectionate. Like he loves people, but when he wants to sleep, he doesn't want to be touched. It's just funny because the kids are like, "Oh, he's so cute! Look at him! How he's laying!" And they'll go up try to pet him, and he just kind of like opens his eye, looks at him, or he pushes. He'll go like, he'll push you away, and he's strong, man.
Does he
He's
get
like-
up and go?
or he'll
move
get up
around?
and move.
Yeah.
Yep. He doesn't want to be touched,
It's funny.
so he'll go in his crate, and that's his space. So he likes it.
Other Northridge news. What else we got going on?
Well, this weekend is kind of a cool service. Maybe you could speak more to this with the way we're doing service has been like doing an interview kind of thing with Glenn Hirschberger, or not?
Yeah, yeah. So
You're looking at me like I'm crazy.
This weekend we're going to have
church planting.
Yeah, I can't think of the other guy's name off the top of my head. It's Glenn Hirschberger, and it's all about talking about City Cop Church, which are going to be launching this September. And Ben's going to have a little spot during the sermon time where he's going to talk to these guys and interview. It's a little bit like a commissioning church plant, sort of like what we've done with Clarity and with Mosaic, but not really, but kind of. And it's kind of mixed, that idea mixed with sort of a mission commissioning. So, yeah, it's going to be cool. They're going to be here all weekend for all 3 services. And we'll have links to their website and ways to support them or whatever. And you'll hear all about it. It's not going to be your traditional Sunday morning type church. So you'll hear about all the details on that stuff, I'm sure, this weekend.
Should be pretty cool.
It is Father's Day, right?
Is it? Yeah.
Sunday.
I guess so. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So if I'm weird.
What do you mean if?
I don't know. It's like a lot of you have been there before. Like you lose a parent, and then the first Mother's Day or Father's Day, could be kind of different. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel. I feel like I've been bracing it for like the last couple weeks, just kind of like wondering how I'm gonna be. But if I'm acting weird, that's probably why. Anyway, or more weird than I normally am, Greg.
Okay.
Other news.
So Kathy Glenn reached out to me a couple weeks ago and said, hey, I got an idea for a small group, but it's really not a small group. It's not a Bible study. Well, and then kind of says, well, really, do you think there's other moms of teenagers out there at Northridge that would want to just get together weekly and just pray for our teenagers? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And then she's like, well, do you think moms that have like young kids and not teenagers would feel bad that they're not invited? I'm like, no, they could start their own group if they want. But so it's just pretty cool. She's got plans for this Moms of Teens group, and they're going to meet on Tuesday during the day here at the church building, starting the week after VBS. They're going to wait till after VBS week. But, yeah, it's going to be cool. Just moms, if you have a teenager.
Anybody can show up?
Anyone can come,
any mom
join
with
the group.
Teenagers.
If you had a teenager, and like Kathy said, it's not like a support group. We're not going to go through details of what's going on in your kid's life, or, we're not even going to try to answer questions as much as just pray. Pray for them, their life stage, what they're going through, what's going on in the world around them and that sort of thing. So I'm sure there'll be more that comes out of that, like, conversation on what, oh, my kid's going through this, and maybe there's moms that have been through that and that could help out. But for that time, it's a prayer group, and I thought, man, that's pretty cool. That's going to be awesome.
Tuesdays, not next Tuesday.
Starting the 29th.
The 29th of June.
I believe the 29th.
What time? You know what time they're going to be?
10 o'clock. 10 to 11:30.
a.m.
Yep, 10 in the morning till 11:30.
10 to 11:30. And I'm sure Kathy would be okay if you had questions. You can get in touch with her.
Yep.
Okay, Kathy Glenn, thank you for putting that together. And
29th.
The 29th of June, 10 to 11:30 here at Northridge.
Yep. Right down in the family room.
Moms of Teenagers prayer group down in the family room. Cool.
Yeah, so that's going on. And then we have just different youth events. Just keep an eye on the youth calendar throughout the summer. They got a lot of stuff planned. As we speak, they're at Whirly Ball in Maple Grove right now.
Yep.
Playing Whirly Ball, which is a lot of fun. If you've never done Whirly Ball in Maple Grove, a lot of fun. You didn't have fun playing?
It's not really my thing.
It was fun. I'm not saying you got to join the league of Whirly Ball or anything, but come on, like, just to do it.
I watch other people have a lot of fun. It's
you
do
really
I have to like
have
everything?
No,
I don't have to
but
like
how do you
everything.
not, like, I don't like everything. trust me, there are a lot of things I don't like.
Yeah. Are you more curmudgeon-y than I am usually?
I don't know.
Probably.
Maybe. Sometimes. I'm a curmudgeon-y about curmudgeons. I just think if I like something, everyone should. It was fun. It's different. That's the thing. It's like you're on this go-kart. It's kind of like go-kart / lacrosse or something, right? Like you got the little scoop net thing.
Lacrosse / basketball.
Yeah, and you throw I mean, I will say that if you're tall, they had an unfair advantage.
Because we're not tall.
But it was still fun. But yeah, youth events going on throughout the year. There's a couple mission things coming up. There's a mission trip, actually, a new one called Jesus on the River. Make a Difference trip coming up. And
is it that Rob Watlow?
Rob Watlow. And if you know Rob, he said just contact him directly. You could email him or text him.
Do you know anything about the event?
I don't know a whole lot about the event. It's just kind of a new thing. It just kind of come up, but it's out there. I know Dan was talking about it. So ask Dan, catch Dan Munson on the weekend if you want more info about that. And I'm sure there's more info details to come with that. But then also one of the really big things here coming up is Pastor Ullman and Karen will be visiting from Honduras, our partners in Honduras. And so they're going to be here all next week, right? And there are opportunities to hang out with them. And the easiest one is Tuesday, the 22nd, so next Tuesday evening from 6 to 9 over at, I
can't remember if they're going to be at the Brodens or if they're going to be at the Schultz's.
No, Tuesday is the park right here down the street.
Okay.
It's kind of an open house. Come hang out with them at what used to be Triangle Park, and I always get the new name wrong. I think it's Lions Memorial Park. Right here, kind of a block or two down the street from Rogers,
right next to
the church. So
yeah,
right behind the new community center that just got built there on Main Street.
The baseball field.
Yeah,
or
that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you want to see Pastor Ullman and his wife Karen, and
are their boys going to be here?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Dan said the boys are coming too. So, yeah. That'll be a good time to hang out. And then they are at different homes like throughout the week.
Yep.
If there's a if you really want to connect with them, again, chat with Dan Munson and just kind of get the rundown on where they are going to be. But they're going to be here over the weekend, this weekend or next weekend. One of the weekends, they'll be here at church.
Yeah, I don't think it's this weekend.
I'm trying to remember when they come into town, but I think maybe it's next weekend that they'll be here.
Yeah, Dan wanted to. They're going to put together a video, but he knew that City Cop Church people will be here this weekend, so he knew that we couldn't do anything for this service. So I'm thinking it's the following weekend.
Okay.
So.
Yep.
Which, by the way, the weekend after VBS, we get Brad Martin.
Yes,
he's going to be leading back.
Awesome.
He's going to be back. I know he played a couple months ago with Zach, but he'll be leading.
Sweet.
Kind of back in the pole position.
Awesome.
I kind of purposely aligned it that way because I think I'll need a weekend kind of more relaxed after VBS. Which
after all your emceeing.
It seems like a lot of work. It's probably mostly just having to wake up early.
You got to set. What's that? What's the sleep rhythm? What do they call it? The
circadian rhythm.
Yeah. You got to reset your circadian rhythm.
Circadian rhythm.
Yeah, your normal rhythm to go to sleep at 4 a.m. and wake up at whatever.
Yeah, it's
noon or whenever you wake up.
It's a long week.
What time do you usually get up on a normal morning? Like
10.
10. So you sleep like 3 or 4 in the morning. You go to bed, wake up at 10.
I try to get to bed before 2.
Yeah. See, that would be my normal. Honestly, that would be my normal rhythm if I didn't have like other things waking me up in the morning. Dogs, children, work.
The only morning that I'm up before then is Sunday morning, obviously.
Yeah.
Which
is why people are used to you being weird on Sunday morning. Just joking.
Because I'm a little tired.
Yeah.
Well, any other news stuff?
I don't know. Probably.
Probably.
There's
Anything Northridge related.
what's cool is there's stuff going on, and it's like it just feels like summer's in the past. I mean, we have events going on. There's youth stuff going on.
Yep.
I mean,
there will still be youth group next
Yeah.
Wednesday, even with VBS.
Yeah.
They're going to do something a little different because the youth room is going to be occupado with Greg and Jordan's
Yeah.
Bible time stuff. But I think they're going to do something outside for youth group, which would be really
they were
cool.
outside last night for a small group time. I mean,
Well, small group and then
Yeah.
the games or whatever. But I
there's a
think
lot of youth
all
coming.
of youth group will be out next Wednesday. In fact, I was going to have to fill in for Zach because Zach, my assistant, is going to be taking the youth worship stuff this summer.
Okay.
But he's on a mission trip next week.
Hmm.
And he asked if I could fill in, but I don't know if I'm going to need to because Brax might not even have that aspect of youth group next
Yeah.
week. They just do something completely different. But there is youth group next
Yeah.
Wednesday.
I was here last night waiting for Asher to get out, and like I was honestly kind of a little surprised at how many students there are.
How
I
many,
mean,
you think 40, 50?
Yeah, probably
Yeah.
about that. I mean, I was shocked. They had, different circles of chairs outside in the parking lot and in the grass just doing small group time, and I was like, oh my goodness, I just had no idea that many students were showing up, and during the summer too, which is crazy. Like the first real week after school is out, because school got out last Wednesday, but high schoolers probably maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, there are a lot of kids here.
Yeah.
It was cool. It's cool to see. It's really jumping. So lots of great, lots of volunteers too. Lots of leaders.
Yep.
So it was good.
Cool. Anything else? Northridge stuff?
I don't know. We're starting that summer series, Summer in the Psalms. Get Real.
Get real.
It's
Yep.
called. So that's coming. That'll be fun.
Yeah,
That'll be good.
we got one more week of our spiritual impact. That's going to be
Mm-hmm.
with City Cop Church. And then the week after VBS begins our new series, Get Real, which is going through a bunch of Psalms. And it's really about having a conversation with God and just being able to figure out how we can just have normal talk, you
Yeah.
know, just honest
Mhm.
conversation, not this, formal, like we're writing a letter, type
Yeah.
business. But Ben's going to be kicking it off. And then, guess what? They're gone. They're gone.
They're gone.
He gone for all of July and all of August. I think it's a total of 11 weeks.
Yes. We're
Ben and
kicking 'em out.
Terry will be
Kicking 'em
on
out of here.
sabbatical. Speaking of Ben, if he remembers this, I don't know if he remembers this, but he's going to join us for this next
Oh yeah.
Thursday.
Oh yeah.
So we'll get a chance
The
to.
last thing he does before sabbatical.
Actually, the preaching will be the
Yeah.
last thing he does. But
Uh,
yeah, so he'll join us. We'll talk a little bit about his plans for sabbatical, what it all is, and maybe just a bunch of other random stuff we'll put him on the spot with and make him uncomfortable. I like doing that.
Yeah.
To see if we can make him uncomfortable.
okay. Challenge.
Yep. But he'll be joining us next Thursday. And then the week after that, I think I'm going to have Brax join us. And then the week after that, this summer, I got a couple plans for some other guests. One, it's Jen Gunnarsson, and you got to see her testimony video
That'd be
on
cool.
Celebration Weekend. But I just thought I'd invite her back, and we can just hear more about her story, kind of
Yeah.
more in depth instead of a 2-minute video. I got a buddy that I want to invite, talk about anxiety and panic attacks, just in terms of how that works with his, faith and
Yeah.
all those things. Because I know that emotional health is such a big deal and it's such a big topic right now. And so I thought I would invite somebody here that actually knows firsthand about it,
Yeah.
because he experiences it and has been dealing with it and wrestled with it. And so he'll be coming at some point. And then we just met somebody a couple weeks ago who's a scientist, a Christian, and a science, not a Christian scientist, but she is in the scientific field.
Yeah.
Remember what was her?
Aerospace engineer.
Aerospace engineer, and
Super smart.
very, yeah.
Way smarter than me.
Even if it were just engineer, smarter than me.
Right.
If it was aerospace, smarter than me. Put them together, way
Yeah,
smarter.
yeah.
But she's going to be coming at some point this summer, and we're going to be talking about some interesting topics in the scientific field as it relates to faith. And then guide a couple other ideas for some guests throughout the summer. So
Awesome.
keep tuning in later on this summer for some more interesting things just other than Greg and I, because we'll try to mix it up and get some other stuff here. But I want to end with this, Greg. Last question before we sign off is, what would you like to accomplish this summer? Is there anything in particular that summer is always a great time because you can be outside a lot easier, or there's more, I don't know, more elbow room to do things. Maybe not for you because it sounds like you're busy with family stuff and kids and all the stuff. But is there anything in particular that you would like to accomplish? It could be a home project. It could be something related to you as a person. I don't know. Is there anything interesting? I'll shut up.
I have a few.
You have a few.
Just so last week I was talking to Jordan. I was like, okay, let's take sometime this summer, like when I'm home on Monday, let's do one room at a time, each, like our kids, go through. Our kids have just too much stuff and trash a bunch of stuff. Their decision, but like they got a lot of stuff that could just be thrown away. But then what can you donate somewhere? If you got stuff that you want to sell, we'll sell it for you either on like the marketplace, or maybe if we have a bunch of stuff, we just need to have a yard sale or something later in the summer. But do that with each room, and then some of our stuff too. But then use the money, and this is how I'm bribing the kids, is like, we'll sell stuff for you, and then we'll just use the money to do something fun, like go to Valley Fair or something fun like that. But also, along with that is we need to paint Evan's room. He's been wanting to paint his room, and so I've been telling him. Actually, he was asking in the winter, and I was like, we got to wait till we can have the window opened. So
air it out.
Yeah, air it out. But so yeah, that's a couple of little ones. But yeah, things here and there around the house and that. Yeah, those are accomplishments.
Anything for you personally? And that's those are things for your house, your family,
yeah, I know
kids.
that it is for me. That's for my mental health. I'm always telling Jordan, there's too much stuff in here. These kids have too much stuff, and it's.
Joking aside, I heard that your physical space around you can sometimes have an effect on your mental space inside of you.
Clutter is bad for anxiety.
Declutter your physical space that can have a positive effect on you mentally.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Personally, one big one, I need to get to a ball game soon. And, I was looking next week, and I've been looking to this one particular series and with the Twins, but it just doesn't work out. So
because you have a connection,
I was looking at the Saints.
You have a connection with a player on their opponent.
Well, yeah, my cousin's wife's cousin is on the Reds. So it's not really a connection. It's just like, it's just one of those things like, oh, okay, well, I'll pay attention to what he's doing because I know someone that knows him. But
Tyler Naquin.
Yeah.
Having a great year.
He is. But also the Reds, like, I'm trying to remember if I've seen the Reds play growing up, going to Dodger games, but I don't know. It's a team that I feel like I have not really seen very often.
Yeah. They're having a pretty decent year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it just time-wise.
Two guys that are, potential MVP, National League MVP contenders.
Yeah.
Two of them.
Yeah.
Jesse Winker, Nick Castellanos, who you made fun of me when I drafted in our fantasy baseball league.
I did.
And because of that,
I still think he's playing.
I promptly
over his
traded him away for a cheater, Garrett Cole.
Oh,
but yeah, you think he's playing above his head?
I don't know. He's never played. He's never done this well before.
Yeah, they've always talked about the potential,
Yeah.
like his StatCast and his.
And when you hear them talk about the potential of a guy for 3 years in a row, usually it's like, okay, he is what he is, right?
Maybe.
But
Bucks.
then-
What about Byron Buxton?
He is what he is. He's gonna have some good spurts, and then he's gonna get hurt for a long time, and
But
then
this
he's gonna
year,
come back.
the power
Okay.
was just okay. He says
No, I mean, he had a great year. What, 2 years ago or 3 years ago? We had
He's
a
had-
really good year, and then he was hurt the whole next year.
Anytime he's on the field, most of the time
Right.
he does really well. I mean, there was a couple years
No,
where
he got sent down.
his
and
batting, he just couldn't hit.
I
the
mean,
ball. But
he's
this
great
year,
center fielder. He's always going to play
before he
well.
got hurt, he was
Yeah, he was having a good, good year.
amazing.
Well, the Reds too are doing this well, and probably their, well, I don't know, maybe their best hitter up till this season is having a terrible year. Third baseman,
Eugenio.
yeah, Suarez.
Yeah, he's been garbage.
He's been terrible. I
Bad-
picked him
bad
up
trade.
Both my wait, in our league, did I?
No, I have him.
No, you have him.
I traded
Yeah.
the pitcher version of Shohei Ohtani,
Okay.
not the batter,
yeah.
because in our league it's
They're
there's
separated.
yeah. But I traded them head to head. I still think he could hit 25 home runs this summer.
Yeah, I picked him up in my other league for that reason. It's like, and that goes back to my theory of like, he is who he is. I mean, for the last 3 years, he's been a great hitter. And
Home run hitter.
yeah,
I mean, he hit
Power
60, he hit 60 home runs one year. I think 57.
something like that.
It was crazy. But anyway, we talk.
Yeah.
we do our best to not talk about
It's
baseball.
impossible.
Anything else that
I need to go to a Saints game.
Saints game?
We got to go AAA affiliate for the Twins this year.
Yep.
Awesome stadium.
Yep. The Yellies just went on Saturday.
Did they?
Yep.
Shout out to Adam, who was stuck in Cincinnati this week for speaking of the
Teenage
Reds
girls. Yeah.
with his daughter's soccer tournament.
Yeah.
And what's there to do in Cincinnati?
You go to some theme parks.
There's a theme
some,
That's it.
Yep. My cousin lives in Cincinnati.
Cincinnati's a strange town because it's like, it's a city you don't really think of very often, yet they have two major sports franchises.
Yeah.
They have an NFL team and a baseball team.
Yeah.
And it's not you don't think of Cincinnati very often unless you're watching the Bengals or the Reds.
Boomer Esiason, Ickey Woods,
Yeah. They've had some great teams.
and now Joe Burrow,
yeah.
who's looking like he's getting ready. The Vikings play Cincinnati week 1.
Do they?
Yep. And so we get to see Joe Burrow, first official game back from his banging up his knee last
You
year.
guys
It's
see if
pretty
the
bad.
Vikings have a Thursday night game or something.
Yeah,
Need to go.
for sure. Sorry, small group.
Fun. Bring them along.
Yeah, they can pay their own way.
I don't know. We got the small group leader and the small group pastor just making game plans instead of small group on your small group night.
Well, you don't have a small group on Thursday nights. I do.
I know, but I should be the one saying, no, you're supposed to be leading your small group, not going to the game. But it's hard for us to go on a Sunday.
It
So-
is. Sunday, we could do Sunday nights.
Oh, yeah, that's
So
it.
for
We could
Sunday
say
night
Sunday
football?
game. Yeah.
Sunday night party. Are you ready for some football?
Yeah.
Waiting all day for Sunday night, right? Isn't that Carrie
Yeah.
Underwood? Yeah.
Under who?
Underwood. You
Underwear? Under
said
how?
underwear.
Under when?
I'd prefer to go to the game so I don't have to listen to Chris Collinsworth on the TV.
Yeah. Here's a
he's-
guy that
He's one of my least favorite sports
Joe
announcers.
Buck or Chris Collinsworth.
Oh, goodness gracious. That's like
What
Nick
if you had 'em
Cage or
together?
John Travolta.
If you were stuck on an island and you had to watch football and you had to listen to one of those two, I think what makes Collinsworth
I would say
worse-
Collinsworth because he knows more about the game he's talking about than Joe Buck does.
But what makes him harder to listen to, probably for you, is like how much he is in love with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Well, they both are actually. So that's kind of a.
But John Madden, Brett Favre, Brett
Yeah.
Favre. You know, he was a Brett Favre.
Yeah.
It's like, what's up with the Packers? Like, where do you think Aaron Rodgers will end?
I don't know.
Do you think he'll retire? I think he should just retire, Rodgers.
Go home.
Just, hey, I mean, not even like that. Just end on a good, like a positive note. I mean, I know they didn't win the Super Bowl
Holding out?
last year.
Quitting?
No, your body's intact. You don't need the money.
Yeah.
Just be gone.
Okay.
I don't know.
But Tom Brady does it all that. He has all that stuff too, and he's still still
But he
clicking
can
away.
do it. I mean, Rodgers has only won one Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And it was a while ago.
Yeah.
And
Rodgers has. Remember last year about this time, people were throwing that around like it's the greatest ever, and like
who, Rodgers?
there were people that will. Yes, there are still people that will say he's great, better than Brady, and it's like they'll compare stats or different things, which is just ridiculous because that's the effect that fantasy sports has on reality. It's like you look at fantasy stats and think, oh, like, because Tom Brady, he's not like a fantasy stud, but the guy has won more Super Bowls and he's just like won the most, more than anyone. But
2 years previous to last year, from a stats and fantasy perspective, Brady and Rodgers both finished outside top 12 quarterbacks.
Yeah.
This last year, Rodgers was like the third or fourth ranked quarterback, and Brady was like the 10th ranked quarterback. So there's,
And part of that though is because like New England's game plan would always, like some weeks Brady would have 350 yards or 400 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, and then the next week they just run the ball. I mean, their game plan was really tailored to who they were playing and what they could do.
Well, that's a Belichick thing,
which is why they've been so successful over time, because it's like that seems obvious,
And they were definitely more of this weird run scheme. There's a lot of zone runs, but with Tampa Bay, you have two of the best wide receivers in the game, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you? And then they had Gronk last year. I forget about that. So he ended up throwing the ball a lot more than I think in his previous 5 years.
And Ronald Jones had a good year though.
Yeah,
back.
but I mean, you're going to need both.
RJ 3? No, RJ
3. Yeah,
forgot
Ronald
what they
Jones
call
3rd. Is he a SC guy?
He's a USC guy.
Yes, USC. That's what I meant.
Out of McKinney, Texas,
Why is that significant?
because my sister lives there.
Oh, that's where she moved on
McKinney High School
4 years ago to
yeah.
the state.
Yep. See?
Yeah, full circle.
Full circle.
Anything else you want to accomplish this summer?
No.
Oh, Janice,
Nothing.
what is your take on Juneteenth?
Juneteenth.
I heard they want to make that an official.
It is. I think it got passed or something, and
So it's an official
on.
government holiday?
yeah. Well, it's not new. It's interesting that it's kind of taken on this thing the last couple of years. I mean, it's not a new thing. I think it's a very significant day, and the celebration of the it's crazy, the last literally the last people to be in chains and enslaved. I mean, it's a celebration of that ending. So I was listening to someone yesterday actually talking about this, how I think growing up, many of us in school were taught that, the Emancipation Proclamation ended slavery, right? Lincoln's speech ended, but it really didn't end it. It was like kind of this is like the beginnings of it. It was kind of okay, this is like the course we're taking. But it took a while. There were still people that were enslaved. So this just is a celebration of that moment when the last chains were taken off, the last slaves in the U.S. from the slave trade. So
how long do you think Juneteenth? Because I remember it's been sort of that word has been kind of in the culture for a few years, but how long is? I mean, because I'm reading something on MSNBC today, right, or CNBC right now, where it says Biden signs Juneteenth bill creating new federal holiday commemorating end of slavery in the U.S., and that was today. He signed a bill.
Yeah.
But you think it was sort of made a official holiday before today?
I don't know. Not like from this is a federal holiday standpoint, but it's been celebrated for many years.
So why is Biden like making a big? Why is he signing?
Well, I think in
bill?
recent years it has gained a lot more national attention and momentum, across the board. I think especially last year, because at this point last year there was still a lot of stuff going on downtown Minneapolis, a lot of following George Floyd. There was still a lot of like protests and rallies and things going on, and it just kind of became a big part of what was happening here last year. And to be honest, I think that's like the first time a lot of people have heard of it. But this is not, it's not something that just started last year.
But now today it became official federal holiday,
Yeah.
apparently. And it was the first federal holiday, the first new federal holiday since Martin Luther King Jr. in 1983. I know we have all these goofy other holidays like siblings, Happy Siblings
Like
Day.
usually you talk about on here. Today is National Ice Cream Day. Or, well, that's not silly. Ice cream's good, but no.
Unless you're lactose intolerant.
Yeah. No, but hey, look, as a Christian, I think this is something the Bible talks a lot about in injustice and oppression and things like this, and this is literally like a celebration of a horrible period in our nation's history of having slaves. And so this is a celebration of the last chains coming off the last slave in Galveston, Texas, actually, of all places. I mean, seems weird. It's not like Mississippi or, somewhere in the deep South, I guess, where we think of, but in Texas. And so, I mean, this is something to me to be celebrated. I don't. It is weird that it hasn't been a big thing nationally until recent years.
You think it's because people are hesitant to believe that we're slave free?
Well,
I mean, legally, we are stated,
Yeah.
stated
Yeah.
that that's the case. But I mean, you think about human trafficking, and you think about prostitution, and all these other ways that people aren't in chains per se.
yeah.
But maybe
See what you're
it's
saying.
there's this hesitancy to celebrate it. The sentiment is great, but are we actually operating? I think about what Paul wrote. Is that Paul? It's for freedom that Christ has set us free. It's like, well, what other reason would it be for? And anytime I see something repeated in the Bible like that, it's always like, okay, is something really important trying to be said here? Anytime you see something being repeated, especially that close to each other, it always makes you want to just kind of really lean in and try to figure out he's saying more than what the words are saying. And I remember thinking back to, I didn't actually go to Erwin McManus's church. That was the year that I skipped out on going to the conference out in California. I think it was a youth specialties conference that some people I was working with. And that Sunday, they ended up going to Mosaic. And so that really actually made me jealous. And I wish I had gone out there. But Connie and Joe were telling me about when they went to Mosaic, everybody was handed a key, like an old, not like a today modern key, but like an old kind of dungeon key almost. And there was this person sitting in this cage, like a big, gigantic cage. And there was a lock on the cage, or there was it was door, and you had to try your key to see if it would work That was part of like
Really?
the experience of going to church there. And so the whole service that Irwin talked about was on, freedom or whatever. At the end of the service, the whole kind of the gag was that the door was never locked.
Oh, he could have just walked.
He could have just walked out,
Yeah.
and I think that's, to me, the point of Paul writing this. It's for freedom that Christ has set us free, is because we have this tendency, even though we've been free, and this, whether this is sin or you even read this about old stories about the South and slavery and all this kind of stuff, where people who've been freed, for whatever reason, maybe it's because they're so comfortable with their sin, or they enjoy it too much, or they don't know how to live a free life, and so they willingly give themselves back to these, the owner, and choose to live back in that kind of state of being enslaved. I don't know what your thoughts about that are.
Are we talking like sin?
Well, I'm talking about either or. I mean, I think for what the cage was saying is that we choose to not come out of the cage, even though we know it's free, because it's comfortable.
Yeah.
We maybe like our choices too much, even though we know it's enslaving us, whether it's whatever kind of sin you're talking about.
Yeah. Because I think we're talking, there are a couple different things. I mean, one is like sin.
I know,
like,
I'm talking about all over the place.
No, I know. Well, and it happens when we use analogies. It's like we could take different paths, right? We could take different roads, or our minds start thinking different ways. But you got sin that you could be a slave to, and you might enjoy that particular sin, and you go back to it. I mean, Paul writes about that. Like, I keep doing the things I know I ought not to do, and I don't do the things I should do. And it's actually, funny enough, I had in seminary, I had a class with Irwin, and he mentioned that passage. He said, basically, we sin because we have a passion for it, and you're not going to eradicate that sin out of your life until you replace the passion. And so I thought, well, that was an interesting take. And to equate like sinful activity with a passion, like, because as a Christ follower, I think like if I'm involved in some sort of sinful activity, well, it's wrong. I shouldn't be doing this. Why am I doing this? And for a seminary professor to say, yeah, it's because you have a passion to do that. Like, it was weird to hear, but also it makes so much sense, because it's like, yeah, I mean, your heart's longing for that thing, good or bad. Like, there's an attachment. It's not just a mental decision. There's something that needs to be done there. You got to allow God to do some work in that, and so you got to replace that passion with a passion, a righteous and holy passion. And so we're talking about that. We're talking about Stockholm syndrome is a real thing. Someone who is kidnapped or whatever, and then starts to sympathize and develop
feelings for the person who's your savior.
Right. Yeah. Like Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Beast is a little Stockholmy, but yeah, and then that's a real thing. So then you're like, okay, this person's like got me captive, but okay, I'm kind of cool with it now. And it's kind of a weird thing that develops mentally, but that's totally different than being forcefully enslaved.
I took it off the rails because I was thinking about that verse that Paul wrote. It's for freedom.
Yeah.
But I have heard stories about slaves, and in particular black slaves in the South in the old days, where they were freed, but they chose to stay where they were.
Well, and you hear that, you might hear something like that today with someone who's been in prison for a long time, right? And they don't know how to survive outside of prison, and they find themselves right back in. Like in some, cases, just commit a crime on purpose or whatever, or violate parole on purpose so that they could go back in because they don't know how to survive in the outside world. And man, we have to go. You have to look at. I mean, this is a long period of time, the slave trade here, but you also have to look at people were plucked from their land, their families, their community, and taken against their will to somewhere completely different, and then enslaved and separated from family and everything, and then over a course of a couple generations. Well, like in some ways, what are you supposed to do? Like I wouldn't, if you're in that situation, how would you know how to survive outside of it? So that'd be understandable in some sense. Like, well, at least I'm, as horrible as it is, at least I'm getting something to eat. At least I know what I'm supposed to do here.
Yeah.
I don't know what's out there, and so I don't know. It's obviously a pretty layered, pretty complex situation, and then you're talking about, like we're talking about a general group. Well, where does individual personality and all that stuff come into play, right? Because I mean, at the end of the day, you and I think through things differently. You and I act differently, right? So I would imagine there's some people that are in that context like, yep, as soon as I can, they're out of here, and they're going to survive, and they're going to make it. And there are some that are like, no, I like the security of just knowing my surroundings, mm-hmm. and as horrible as they are. And again, you see that in many different ways now. People find themselves in really bad situations, and it's almost like
abusive relationships.
Yeah, and it's almost like they know what to expect. They know.
Yeah.
They know what's happening, so then they know how to function, and they can't see themselves functioning outside of it. And
yeah.
I'm probably butchering the whole psychology and therapy thing, but that's what you kind of see that.
I guess what I was curious about, I mean, I'm reading here, it says June 19th, 1865.
Yeah.
That's where you're talking about with Galveston, Texas. Mm-hmm. That's when the end of the Civil War and when the
last slave was set free.
Yes. Yeah. That has been, my math is terrible,
157
Sure.
years.
I'm terrible at math. Over 150 years.
No, not 150, 145.
1865.
65 plus 20, 85, 186 years.
Right. Either way, it's a long time.
It's terrible. Yeah.
Why has it taken this long for it to become a federal holiday?
Right.
And is it just because, well, I'm just curious. I mean, why now? Why?
Because, I was going to joke that our government is just notoriously slow at doing anything, but no, it's just a bad joke, but it is sad.
I mean, to Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
Yeah, and to me, this is something that is very significant that we should recognize a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like this is when it actually stopped. Because I
don't think anybody would disagree with you either.
Right.
But that's why it makes it really curious.
But look at this.
Why till now has it not become a national recognized federal holiday?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it wasn't pushed for by the right people. I don't know.
Yeah.
I will say this. The other night, I was doing some genealogy stuff on my family tree. And by the way, so Monday, and I'm really torn. I'm really sad that I can't be there. But my parents and sisters and nieces are all, yesterday they all flew out to California they're doing a wedding shower for my niece. But on Monday, my mom is going to go meet her half brother that we just found out.
Oh, that you helped figure out.
Yeah, okay. Just like
you've talked to a couple times.
January, we found out she has a half brother. My mom's 77 years old. She'll be 77. She's not quite so. She'll be 77 in July.
That's all right. I'm not sure. I know my mom is.
She's just found out she has a brother, and she's going to meet him. And I'm really sad I can't go. I'm really sad I can't be there. But
this would be like your half uncle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Anyway, so I was doing some research on my dad's side of my family tree, which my dad's side is where like I get 10%. One time it was 10%. It's 12% on a different DNA of Nigerian, West African DNA, and we've known already. We know there's a black ancestor on my dad's side, but we don't know who they are. And like I even look at pictures of my grandfather. It's like, well, he's very clearly biracial. And I think my grandfather would have been a quarter, roughly, or one of his parents would have been half black, I believe. And so I was looking at all this stuff. I'm trying to figure things out, and I came across this. So, in one of the things I think, so my great grandfather, I found an arrest record. He was arrested in Georgia for bigamy, which is being married to someone when you're already married. So he wasn't legally divorced or whatever. He was married legally, and then he got married again. He got arrested for it in Georgia, and that stuck out because we have no other family ties to the South really at all. And I was like, there's got to be something there. That's got to be like something. So I emailed the National Archives in Atlanta for his more detail on his arrest record, and they're still closed because of COVID. Like I got an email back saying, "Oh, sorry, we're still working from home. We don't have access to the physical copies, but whenever the National Archives opens back up, just resubmit your request or whatever." But one thing I saw was it was 1984 when biracial marriage was officially not illegal in Georgia.
84?
1984.
God, it seems so late.
That I don't know that they were making arrests then, but it was not officially illegal to be
84.
Like it was illegal to be biracially married up until 1984.
That's crazy.
And then there was a list of like different laws and things across the South concerning stuff like that, and it was like, this is not that long ago.
Yeah, as Joe Rogan would say, it's like one person ago.
Well, it's like that's our lifetime.
Yeah,
Like
that's
I was 9 years old then. That's crazy.
Yeah,
That's crazy. And so yeah, this is something that happened in 1865. Why hasn't it been a bigger celebration or a bigger thing? I think it's gotten a lot more attention over the last couple of years, just because, it has coincided. June 19th, the date has actually happened to coincide with some big events culturally in the last couple of years that have happened. Like most recently, last year, a lot of people surrounding the George Floyd stuff still, in Minneapolis, and so it became maybe a little bit more popular nationwide, or to a lot of people that had never heard of it or didn't really know much about it. And
yeah. I mean, I'll be honest. I think last year was the first time I'd ever heard of Juneteenth. So,
and it's probably like you're probably in the majority there, right? So
yeah, Janice, I don't have a whole lot of thoughts.
That was a long answer.
Long answer, a long
that's
non-answer.
my take. Yeah.
What are your thoughts out there? So yeah, get something done this summer. Think about what it really meant for the June 19th thing. Join us for all those cool things that we get to do this summer. And anything else, Greg? I still got to get a bike so we can go biking. I haven't done that. That's what I'd like to accomplish.
I have a bike
this summer. I know you have a bike.
Yeah.
I don't have one yet, but we should do that. We should go biking.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. You good?
I'm good.
Anything
Who wants to go to
else?
the Saints game?
I'd like to
up.
go to the
Let's
Saints
go.
game. Let's go.
I need to get to a Twins game too.
Yep. Let's do it. Bring
All right.
us. We'll see you this weekend. Have a good one, everybody.
All right. Have a good one.
Gregg.